I needed that.
It's okay.
That was awesome, and continues to be awesome. Thank you. Have you ever had one of those days you come home, or maybe you're already at home, and your spouse, your husband, your wife, your child, someone very important to you, they come home as well, and they start telling you about their day. Maybe your spouse is recounting something that happened at work, and they're droning on, or your child is telling you about something that happened at school, and you just interrupt them. And you say, get to the, I just want to hear the punchline. I don't need all this, right? You interrupt them and you say, just get to the point. You hurt my feelings. I'm going to hurt a lot more than that. So, we want a long story made short. God takes a short story and He makes it long. I think that everything God wanted to say, needed to say to us, had He chosen, He probably could have eliminated all of creation and could have just gotten right to the point. But for our sake, He took a short story and He made it long. He lengthened it, much longer than we would have. I don't know if you've ever read your Bible. I don't know if you've spent any time in it other than when we gather in here. But from Adam and Eve until the end of time, God really just has one story. God has one story for you. Unfortunately, religion takes that story and it's... You remember the days when you had Kodak cameras? And you had the 110 film that was in there, that little cartridge? And you took it to Walgreens or wherever, and you got back the color images, but there was the negatives, right? Okay, so when you look at the picture, you say, oh, that looks like the real thing, and then when you look at negative, it looks like something from Andy Warhol, right? You don't know what you're looking at. Religion takes God's one short story, and they make it a negative. Religion will convince you God's mad at you. Religion can convince you you will never measure up and you're never going to be good enough. See, God only has one story. And that story goes back before creation. Before the world was created, before Adam and Eve were in the garden. And the story is not that God is mad at you, He's mad about you. God is mad for you. God is madly in love with you. And that's it. That is the long story made short. It's the short story that God makes long. So He puts Adam and Eve in the garden. They have 2 sons, and what do? They fight and they kill each other. And from there forward, that's all we have managed to do, is just take a nice playhouse and mess it up. And God says, you know what? I'm not mad at you. I'm madly in love with you. And that's the short story that we tend to make long. And we read about the culmination of that in the passage that Lisa just read for us in Revelation chapter 21. Sadly, when it comes to the book of Revelation, you have 2 different approaches. One is, let's just avoid it. I mean, there's dragons, there's frogs, there's bowls of wrath, there's earthquakes, there's hailstones the size of a school bus. I don't know, right? It's all crazy. So, you know what? It doesn't really apply to my life, and so it's crazy words that I don't understand, so I'm going to avoid it. The other approach is, did you see the news this week? Because I saw Revelation chapter 16 on Fox News. And you see the book of Revelations, there's no S on it, but you see the book of Revelation in every news headline, every big event. You know, from Vladimir Putin to, I can't pronounce the Chinese president's name. But there he is. He's right. I can lift it right out. No, those both approaches are probably not healthy. I think we like the phrase long story short because we're impatient by nature. I know I am. This morning, Tammy and I sat in the car waiting for Clay to come out, and I started this close to leaving him. We're going to church. I can't wait to yell at that boy for being late. You know, come on, let's go. We're impatient. And the book of of Revelation is all about, listen carefully, long-suffering and endurance. Two traits that we neither come by naturally nor are we prepared for. We don't run to them. We don't embrace them. We don't long for that character refinement. I like the book of Revelation. Tammy and I were camp counselors for several years when we lived in Illinois, and we ministered to a church there in the Midwest. There was a Bible camp called Tri-State, and we had kids from Illinois, Iowa. I don't know what the third state was. That's terrible. But anyway, the kids had a song that I probably immaturely encouraged them to sing, and it was about Revelation 21:8. Let's go Revelation, Revelation 21:8, 21:8. Liars go to hell, liars go to hell. Burn, baby, burn. I know, it is sick. Well, I guarantee you, it's burned in your mind now. Some things you cannot unsee. That song will haunt you. Let's take a quick look at Revelation chapter 21, because there's so much more to it than the lake of fire. So, John is writing here, and you remember now, he has been caught up in a vision. He's a slave. He's a slave on a mine island, Patmos, when this book takes place. And he starts off the book of Revelation saying, to my brothers who are in the tribulation and in the kingdom. So he's already in the tribulation. He's already part of the kingdom. And he's going to bring about this. And if you don't hear anything else that I say about this passage is about perfected fellowship. It's about perfected provisions. Right? So God is going to take care of all of the missing fellowship that we're having with him, about all the things that we need to be provided for. It's about perfected protection, because we live in a world that sometimes doesn't feel safe, but it's about perfected joy. This is the Christmas season, and we sing what to the world? Joy to the world. Jesus says, I come to bring you joy, right? I want you to have love. I want you to have love. So John is going to tell us how and when these things are going to be perfected. And he starts here in chapter 21. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first earth and the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. So when you read that, you may say, well, that seems awfully strange. Particularly the part about there's no more sea. Now, John is Jewish. The majority of his audience is Jewish. The Jewish people were not seafaring people. And in fact, most Jewish, in the ancient world, most Jewish sailing vessels always kept track of the shore. They didn't want to get, if they could, they didn't want to get far from the shore. It's interesting. Jesus, if I could only do that kid song. There's a boat on the Sea of Galilee. That's not a sea. It's a lake. It's a lake. It's 16 miles across, I think. It's a lake. But they call it the sea. They're not seafaring people because the sea was a wicked and vile place. Leviathan lives there. It's scary, it's terrifying, and bad things happen to you. God's already given them comfort. Look, in the future, there's no more sea. This is, how do you have earth without the sea? Well, remember, a lot of this is metaphor. But he's taking away one of the things that they're afraid of. So there's a new heaven, new earth. Why do we need these? They've been infected. They've been tainted by evil. Jesus, somewhere in Luke chapter 10, I think around verse 17, says, I looked and I saw Satan cast from heaven like lightning. Book of Job, Satan has free reign. He's roaming about the earth, but he's also in heaven where the sons of God are meeting. Heaven has been infected. Earth has been tainted. God is going to make all things new. So I see a new heaven and a new earth. And verse 2, I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. It's probably talking about the church. I don't know. I'm not an expert on Revelation. I love to preach and teach from it. I'm not an expert, but I believe this is talking about the church, right? Here's the church. here we are. We're being reconnected with God. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man." Remember, Garden of Eden, that comes to an end. We eat from the wrong tree. Oh, it looks good for food. Oh, it's going to make me smart. It's going to make me like God. We don't realize our identity in God. We don't realize the place, and we blow it. And God's going to undo that, fix it. So the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them. They'll be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. And he's going to wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death shall be no more. I don't feel sorry for a single funeral guy. Funeral home guys, don't feel sorry for them. Man, think of the pain that death has caused in our lives. Think of the remorse, the sorrow, the sadness. God's going to wipe that all away. Wipe away every tear. Death will be no more. There'll be no more mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore. For the former things have passed away. How's he going to do this? So I'm going to make things it's all going to be new. I'm making all things new, verse 5. Write this down. These are words that are trustworthy and true. And he said to me, it's done. See, God's going to conquer. He's going to win in his timing. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the bookends. I'm the beginning. I'm the end. To the thirsty, I will give from the springs of the water of life without payment. To the one who conquers will have this heritage. I'll be his God. He will be my son. But for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, the murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and liars, their portion is in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. Everybody's tore up about Donald Trump right now. Talk about a lightning rod issue. People that can't stand him or his agenda, they're tore up. People who are his supporters and fans, they're tore up because people are attacking him, right? Everybody is all upset. Seems like every political cycle, I can remember when my earliest political memory was when Nixon resigned and Gerald Ford became president. And I remember all the controversy with that. Then I remember Ford not making it, and then Jimmy Carter coming in the office, and liver pills and peanut farms and all that. And I remember a huge recession in '79. I remember the Iran hostages, and they said, well, we'll release them when he's no longer president. Then Reagan comes in, and there's a new sheriff in town, and everybody hates Reagan, or they love Reagan. And I remember Bill Clinton. Well, Bush, first Bush. I remember Bill Clinton. I remember the hanging chads. Remember that? I remember sitting on the edge. Oh, man, I remember sitting on the edge of the seat. It was finals. 1998, I'm in college. I didn't go to college until I was 28. I remember I came home for lunch. It was final. And I remember looking right into the TV, and I remember Bill Clinton saying, well, it depends on how you define the word is. I saw that live in real time. Doesn't matter what politician you love. They come and they go. People are always worried about the economy. Either the economy is doing terrible, or when it's doing good, what are we worried about?
When it starts to do terrible.
Huh?
When it starts to do terrible.
When it's going to start to, the Dow took a plunge, or tariffs or whatever. Right? We always get. Does the economy go up and down? Does it ever stay the same? It never stays the same. If it's not North Korea, then it's China or it's Russia. We always have a new foreign enemy. Or just watch the news cycle. Just give it a couple of days, right? There's always, there's something wrong in Syria. Oh, look at the people in Yemen. Oh, don't take a boat through by Somalia because the pirates are going to get you. There's always some type of foreign enemy. I love this passage because it helps us gain perspective. What I'm trying to say is, you ever wonder, have you ever noticed the things you worry about are temporary? Everything that you are worried about is temporary. The things that trouble you, the things that worry you, the things that keep you up at night, they all seem to be about something temporary. Whatever problem, whatever crisis, whatever controversy, whatever issue, it's all temporary. Except for our relationship with God. Now, I'm not asking a rhetorical question. I'm asking you a question that I want you to respond to. Right? So the book of Revelation here gives us this culmination where time is coming to a conclusion. And when it comes, here's the question for you. When it comes to the end of time, what are some things about our relationship with God that won't have changed? What are some things that won't change? Right? We live in a time-space continuum. Right? We live in a physical reality. When this all comes to a close, what are some things that will not change about our relationship with God at the end of time? What's never going to change? Love. Okay. So he's always madly in love with us. We're going to be in love with him. So love is a constant. It's never going to go away. What else won't change? Great answer. What else won't change?
Worthy of worship. Worthy of worship.
Worthy of worship. Yeah, Revelation chapter 7, right? All nations, tongues, and tribes, you are worthy. And they're before the throne, they're before the Lamb, and they're worshiping. God will always be worthy of worship. So our love, that's undying. That's never going to change. God is always going to be God. Right? Anything else that's not going to change? Truth. Truth is eternal. All right, what will change? Let's flip that around. What's going to change at the end of time? If God is always going to be God, he's always going to be worthy of worship, truth won't ever bend or change, and love is always a constant, what is going to change? Our bodies. 1 John chapter 3, we don't know what we're going to be like, but when he comes, we're going to be made just like him. So this body, by the way, I think you're going to keep it through eternity. We seem to be able to recognize each other. Jesus seems to have carried his scars into eternity. But it's going to be transformed in 1 John 3. We don't know what, but something is going to change. Okay, so our body's going to be changed. What else is going to change? You know you're going to have to think today, didn't you?
There's no more death and no more sorrow.
No more death, no more sorrow. You're cheating because that's right out of the passage. That's right. No more death, no more sorrow.
Or misconceptions or believed.
That's the direction I'm going. And Bruce says, misconceptions, the lies we've been taught to believe, that's going to be removed. The way that I wanted to phrase it was, we're going to have ultimate clarity. Mm-hmm. Right now, you see as through a veil, the Apostle Paul would say. But one day, it gives me goosebumps to think about it, you'll have ultimate clarity. You think you understand God right now. You think you understand him better than other people, just like you think your political party is the right one and the other people's are mistaken, right? You think, I think I know God, but I'll really know in the end, when I'm face to face and his dwelling place is with man, and we're going to be together, never to be separated, we're going to have new eyes to see. And it's going to be amazing. And that's what John is encouraging people with who are going through persecutions and trials and tribulations, difficulties different maybe than what you're facing right now. And John says one day it's all going to change. And it gives us the perspective that is so sorely lacking today. We're worried about what president is in office, or what the biggest threat is to the nation, or, you know, are they going to put speed bumps in my neighborhood, or whatever you're worried about. And John says there is an eternal perspective. I want you to have it. Won't be fully clear until it's realized, but there's a perspective needed. I also like this passage because it lets us know that God has something new in store for us. He has something planned for us, something that's better. And the reason that He is able to do that, because Jesus is the Alpha and the Omega, the Greek alphabet, their A and their Z. He is the beginning and He is the end. So He can see everything that we can't see, and He can do everything that we can't do because, well, He's God. So He's going to make it happen. I also like this passage because we talk a lot about our aches and our pains and our sufferings and the things that we don't like. We are a grumbling culture. We just can't help ourselves sometimes. But this passage reminds us that no matter how much suffering we have to endure right now, no matter how many times we've had heartaches or broken hearts or broken bones or what have you, that God is going to do something more than just restore. He's making a new heaven and a new earth, and He's going to reconnect with us, and it's going to be better than any of us could ever imagine. Right now, because this universe is tainted by evil, we experience the consequences of evil. God's not only going to wipe that away, He's not only going to fix it, it's going to be better than before. Garden of Eden seems pretty awesome to me. You know, I read that passage in Genesis and I go, wow, man, but there's something better. Heaven right now sounds pretty good to you. God says, I'm going to make a new heaven. Well, how do you make something that's already the best even better? I don't know. You can take that up with God when you meet Him, right? And maybe more importantly, as I read this passage in Revelation 21, I'm reminded once again that when I look around, there's many days that it seems like evil is winning. This passage says, even when I think evil is winning, God is going to conquer it. In His timing, that's the hard part. It's in His timing. You know that Revelation song that you're going to be singing to your grandkids one day? Passage reminds me that I know which side I want to be on. But more to the point, more to my final point. I'm going to start doing I've got one more point like 5 times in a row. I think this reminds me that it's the holidays, we're all going to eat together, right? You're going to eat something good over the holiday season. You don't ever cook a turkey in the microwave, do you? This passage reminds me that you can't compare microwave food to crock pot food. We've got a crock pot, it's 20 years old. And but there's no comparison. Microwave is convenient, my impatience is satisfied quickly. But man, the whole house smells good when it's cooked in the crock pot. The food just melts in your mouth. Are you getting hungry? So no matter what, you can't compare microwave meal to crock pot cooking. And long stories made short will never satisfy.
Look at that.